What if the version of you living this life is only a piece of who you really are? There was a time I thought I was my name, my history, my personality, my thoughts, but that was just the mask, the one I learned to wear so I could belong, so I would fit in. Until one day, like I mentioned in my previous video, I first learned about the laws of the universe through XXX Tentacion. He told the viewer to study them, so I did, and it made me feel like I finally discovered the real truth, the truth of life, what it means, how it works. I didn't know it back then, but that moment was a seed, a quiet invitation to unlearn everything I thought I knew about myself, about life, about what matters. And with every law I read, something in me stirred, not like I was learning something new, but like I was finally remembering something ancient, something I had always known, but had forgotten along the way. I thought I figured everything out, but little did I know that was just the start. The laws of the universe are like a handbook of life. If you don't learn to practice them into your reality, they can and will work against you. The first law is called the Law of Divine Oneness. This law says that everything is connected, everything is one. We are all a spiritual being having a human experience. That spiritual being is your soul. We are taught to think from duality. Our egos are wired that way because the ego was built to survive in a world it believes is separate. This is me. That is you. We are not the same. It needs contrast to feel safe. It labels to stay in control. But in doing so, it forgets the truth. The soul doesn't see in opposites, but the soul sees reflection. It doesn't choose sides. It listens. It says, this anger is my own. This fear, I recognize it. This beauty lives in me too. The ego separates. The soul reflects. And in that reflection, we remember. We are all just fragments of the same source, wearing different names, speaking different stories, but born of the same energy. The law of oneness is not an idea. It's a vibration, a remembering, a return to the truth that I am you, you are me, and we are one. Up until then, I had lived from my ego, but I didn't know that's what it was. I just thought life was supposed to feel this way, heavy, confusing, lonely. I was reacting, surviving, repeating patterns I didn't choose, but somehow still carried. And then I learned something that explained everything. When you realize that most of who you think you are was shaped before you could choose, it humbles you. The way you react, the people you attract, even the dreams you chase, all of it might be rooted in survival, and that's not your fault. But now it's your responsibility, because you can't rewrite a story you're still unconscious in. Your ego is formed in your first 7 years. Before you even know who you are, you're already learning who you have to be loved, to be safe, to be accepted. And so your ego, your character is born. Mine was built from silence, from needing to be strong, from trying to be what others needed while forgetting what I needed. And under that character was a soul I had forgotten. The law of divine oneness reminded me nothing in me is separate. Even my wounds are part of the whole. Even the mask, it served a purpose. It protected something sacred. But now I was being asked to look deeper, to remember who chose the mask in the first place. That's when I found something I call Christ consciousness. Not a religion, not a belief system, but a way of seeing. It's the part of me that watches without judgment, the part that doesn't try to fix but to feel. Not the part of me that is thinking, but the one that is aware of my thoughts. It's the bridge between the ego I created and the soul I forgot. And through that perspective, I started remembering. You're afraid to become fully conscious, because the moment you go inward, you first run into the ego. And your ego, it hurts you. But here's the truth. You are not your ego. You are the soul carrying the ego. You have an ego, you are not it. You are the one observing the experience. But through your day, through your habits, you look at life through the eyes of your ego, and the ego sees from a limited view. It only knows how to interpret life from programming, beliefs, fears, pain. It sees reality in 3 dimensions. It tries to protect you by filtering everything through what it already knows. But when you go deeper, when you look past the ego, you start to see something else. The truth of who you really are. The soul behind the mask. The core behind the personality. That's where your power lives. And that's where real freedom begins. But remembering doesn't mean everything suddenly becomes light and easy. Actually, the opposite happened. The light revealed my shadow. The truth revealed where I was still stuck. That's when the real work began. I realized there were parts of me I never allowed to exist. They were locked away, deep, but they were still shaping my life. And if I wanted to be free, I had to face them, feel them, without judgment, without running. That's what they call shadow work. But really, it's just learning to love the parts you used to hide. And slowly, something shifted, not because I became someone else, but because I finally saw who I had been. And from that place, I could choose again, not from fear, not from habit, but from alignment, from soul. Now, I see life differently. It's like a game, not in a fake way, but in the sense that you can change your character. The world may still run on ego, but from within, you can play a new story. One where you remember, one where you choose, one where you stop trying to become and start being who you want to be. Don't forget, you are not your name. You are the soul that chose it. And even on the days you forget, the one behind your eyes has never been lost. Sometimes I still feel like I'm split in 2. One part of me wants to rise, to change, to fight for a better life. The other part still snoozes, still runs, still hides in distractions. I wake up late again. I know I said today would be different, but my old habits, they know when to strike, right when I'm tired, right when I'm weak. That's when I remember everything is connected, my thoughts, my energy, my choices. If I give in to the same patterns, I'll keep getting the same results, so I shift. I observe instead of absorb. I feel the low frequency trying to pull me back, but I choose to stay high, even if that means walking alone, even if that means saying no to the people I used to explain myself to, because my energy is not up for debate anymore. My frequency is mine, and the moment I start living as the version I dream of, the world starts to reflect that. So I stop waiting. No more one day. No more when everything is perfect. I show up as the version I was born to be now, because what I choose, I attract, and I choose to become unstoppable. I don't always get it right. Some days I still fall back into the old loops. But the difference now is I see it. I see myself. And even in my lowest moments, I trust something deeper is guiding me. Not because life is easy, but because now I'm awake in it,